G'day there everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Phoenix Point, and welcome to our first ever playthrough of Terror from the Void. So before starting a new game, we're going to make sure all our mods are enabled. We're going to go into mod settings, and we're going to have a look here at starting squad. So you can see in the tooltip here, you can choose a different starting squad. So this is a little bit like War of the Chosen in XCOM 2. Where in the settings you could choose to start with the Templars or the Reapers or the... what were they called? The ex-Advent guys, Skirmishers. So you can choose to start as normal as Phoenix Point. You can choose to start more closely allied to Disciples of Anu. You can choose to start with New Jericho or Sanhedrin. And the tooltip will tell you, depending on your difficulty setting, this will affect you differently. So you get a unit, an elite unit of the faction that you choose. And depending what difficulty setting, that will replace one or more of your default starting Phoenix Point units. Or you can start as Phoenix and just have the default starting lineup. So I'm going to go with Sanhedrin. Now, this is a little counterintuitive to me. They're not my favorite faction. I want to start as Anu. I think this is the most interesting, particularly for me personally, because they are the faction whose technology and playstyle I have historically interacted with the least. And I've never made great use of priests other than frenzying my units. So starting with a priest and a smaller squad would be an interesting challenge for me. And I'm interested in pushing myself into exploring their tech. And, you know, exploiting some of their more aggressive playstyle a little bit. New Jericho is my favorite faction just in terms of the storytelling, because I feel like they're the only ones who are directly addressing the reality of the problem. But we are actually going to start with Sanhedrin, just because I think starting off with an infiltrator is going to be pretty interesting. The other people I have seen starting playthroughs with this mod have started with Anu. I say people, the other videos that I've seen have been starting with Anu, so you can check some of that out already. I am pretty keen and excited to play around with an infiltrator early in the game where I've never had access to them, because typically I am raiding Sanhedrin for their aircraft, so I unlocked their technology a little bit later in my campaigns, since probably my first or second playthrough. So we're going to start with Sanhedrin. We're going to start with an infiltrator. You can see we've also got the recommended better vehicles, better enemies mods. The better classes mod is already built into Terror from the Void. So now that we've set all that up, we're going to start a new game. I have played around a little on Veteran because I couldn't be bothered starting with 3 units, but we're going to go with Hero. Just set some expectations. We're just going to... I was going to say muck around, but we're just going to jump in. We're going to explore the mod. I haven't done a huge amount of research, but it looks dope. I'm super excited to jump into it. But we're going in a little bit blind. I understand some of the ideas behind the changes, but I don't really understand all of the mechanics of them. So we're going in a little bit blind. Mistakes will be made, but we're here to have fun.
The Phoenix Project was founded on October 24th, 1945. The Second War to end all wars was over, but there were those who understood that we could no longer afford to think in terms of nations and empires. For a time, the Phoenix Project successfully navigated the political conflicts of its era. That was our golden age. Phoenix Project operatives scoured the world for clues. We had bases in 24 countries. Even the heavens were not off limits. But out there, on the far side of the moon, began our downfall. The failure of the Phoenix 2 mission exposed us to our enemies in the UN. Stripped of resources and scattered to the winds, we were reduced to a secret, a memory. When the Pandora virus woke up, we should have been the first line of defense. When huge clouds of mist appeared over the sea, when people started vanishing, we should have figured out what was going on. And when those people started coming back, changed, hostile, alien, we should have been ready to fight, but we failed. The ecosystem started to change, imperceptibly at first, then faster and faster. 3 factions arose. New Jericho, trying to restore order and purity. Sinedrin, hoping to build a world without hierarchies. And the disciples of Anu, a new syncretic religion dedicated to adaptation and biological change. At war with the world, and at odds with each other, these factions cannot find a way forward. Now the mist is returning, and armies are rising from the sea. Without the Phoenix Project, humanity will fall. It's time to rise from the ashes.
So in one of those cutscenes where they're opening fire on crabmen and mutants, you actually see the Disciples of Anu ultimate mutation technology resistor head. I hadn't noticed that before. A cold reboot of the game. After all these years, you finally got the call. It meant that Symes and his deputies were dead or unreachable. Phoenix Project had gone dark. You'd spent many years waiting, dreading that this would happen, living a discreet and simple life at Bakunin, a Sinedrian haven. The trek to Phoenix Point was long and dangerous, and you wouldn't have made it without Rebecca Darrell, a Sinedrian infiltrator. When you reached Phoenix Point, somebody was already home. I'm Alistair Ashby. Yes, the mist expert. Thanks for watching my content back in the day, I guess. And thank you for watching mine. A few of us managed to get to this bunker and activate the emergency beacon before we were overrun by the creatures that followed us here. We've got this place mostly up and running, thanks to Olena. She is quite the wunderkind. I don't know how to pronounce that word, forgive me. Yes, I remember you. Surprising to meet you here. I've no idea who this guy is. Orpa Alistair is good with people. I'm good with machines and software. This facility runs on a limited AI called Bennu. Once Bennu verifies your credentials as duly appointed director, all functionality should be restored, and you should be able to interface with the system. Alright, so here we are in the Geoscape, getting started. So I'm going to make an earnest attempt at doing some better... I'm blanking on the word, guys. Chapter divisions in these videos. There's a specific word I'm looking for, and I'm sure it'll come back to me halfway through my first tactical mission. But I'm going to make an earnest attempt at bookmarking these videos properly, so that you can skip through cutscenes if you don't want to. But yeah, we're starting here on the Geoscape. Just quickly, don't forget to hit thumbs up if you've been enjoying any of my Phoenix Point content, or if you want to see more of this. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of the videos, make sure you subscribe. Leave us a comment if you have any ideas or requests for character builds, or, you know, just want to give us some feedback or ask questions. I love hearing from you guys. But otherwise, let's jump in and save the world. So you can see I only have 3 units here to start with, which is pretty bleak, but let's go have a look at them. Sophia Brown, so she's going to start with extra grenade damage. She gets access to personal defense weapons, which is pretty dope. Kind of redundant, given that she has assault rifles, but these basically do the same damage, but for 1 AP. She gets some extra accuracy at the end, and you can see the ultimate Phoenix Point abilities being changed to Battle Hardened. +2 to all primary stats, plus 10% to accuracy, and +4 perception, which is pretty dope. For 20 skill points, that is a bargain on the primary stats. Jacob Eber. So he gets jetpack proficiency, which is fairly useless. One of my least favorite ones. He will get access to melee weapons. And he also has Nurse, so extra will points, extra healing. For 10 skill points, that's a nice little buff to his will points, though. And now we have our infiltrator, Rebecca Darrell. So she starts with extra stealth and speed, both of which are very helpful. That's pretty much custom built for an infiltrator, isn't it? She will get access to heavy weapons, funnily enough. You see here she gets Pain Chameleon. Saboteur. So this has replaced their ultimate ability, I guess. We still get the flat damage bonus, but here you can see when you're hidden, the AP cost of non-weapon skills and spider drone skills is decreased by 1 AP. So that's actually pretty dope. It's sort of like a mini adrenaline rush whenever you're invisible. And with Pain Chameleon, it'll be whenever she gets attacked. She also gets extra will points and perception. Not the best, but also not terrible. The extra will points are helpful because Pain Chameleon chews through them automatically, and extra perception is always helpful given that infiltrators tend to do a lot of scouting. Now let's pimp her out. What's the difference here? 16, 21. Okay, so it's literally just a skin change. Sometimes the skins actually have better stats. That might have just been modded out. Cool. Plenty of ammo. Sophia. Also get some ammo, please. Get a grenade into you. And we're also going to deck her out. Accuracy buff. So it's less armor than the Phoenix ones, but you do get an accuracy buff. And again, less armor, but you get a speed and accuracy buff, which is significant. Again, less armor, but a slight accuracy buff. I don't know, the 2% is really worth it compared to the Phoenix pantaloons, but they look a bit mismatched, so I'm changing them over. So we've lost one assault and our heavy, and instead we've got that infiltrator. I seem to have rolled a lot of starting snipers since playing around with better classes that have the reduced carry weight buff, so it's nice to get one who can just carry all his gear from the get-go. And we're going to pimp him out as well. So that's about all we can do right now. Let's go say hello to our neighborly Synedrian friends. Now we could assist Synedrian with this problem. As much as I can link you all to a video, which I'll probably forget to do, that proves that this is very possible with only 3 units, I couldn't be bothered right now.
Research complete.
Let's get Haven recruitment protocols. At some point, I will need to be able to make more ammo for this guy, so it's nice that I can actually reverse engineer this straight away. But we're going to do it like this, get those Haven recruitment protocols, hopefully get a 4th guy, and then get started. I will attempt the Anu mission, however. Now, I'm going to have to attack this slightly differently to how I regularly do, because I always send a heavy up to scout ahead, which I can't do, because I don't have a heavy. So we're just going to do our best. I believe from watching a few minutes of another video, and mostly just its headline to be honest, that worms are a little faster with the Better Enemies mod.
Let's do this. Over there.
Okay, so there's a lot of worms over there.
Let's do this.
So I'm gonna
Rolling out.
send Sophia out now. She has extra grenade damage, but not range.
Watch this.
Three down.
Rolling out.
Now I'm worried about one coming from this direction. So we're gonna set up a little bit of Overwatch.
Already.
And let's just see what our... Yeah, given that I can't produce more ammo for this, I'd rather wait and let someone get a little bit closer. Got it. Wonderful. Yeah, so as I said, I believe the worms have a slightly increased movement movement distance. I'm not sure what that is, but we don't want to mess about too much. I believe also your starting elite unit begins at level 2, not level 1, but I could be wrong about that. I didn't check too thoroughly.
Let's show 'em what we can do.
Lining up a shot.
Perfect shot.
2 down.
Reloading.
I'm prepared.
Now, I'd love to, like, throw another grenade and kill both these guys. Or even, you know, bash. But I don't have enough action points. I'm going to set up a little overwatch like this. Just in case that worm tries to be a little too clever. Bit more overwatch. And you'll notice I'm being a lot more defensive because I only have 3 guys. And I'm not sure how much movement speed we have here, but I'm probably being a little overcautious. They are just worms.
Here they are.
I'm definitely burning through crossbow ammo too quickly.
Ready, willing, and able.
I could bash, but I'm not sure that a bash will actually kill something in one hit at this point. And it's just not a risk I'm willing to take.
Let's go.
Having to spend
Is that really the best they can do?
See you in the next line.
having to spend my whole turn killing one worm and being stuck with no way to retreat. And what I'm doing here is just trying to share the kills around a little bit. Okay, and I think that's it. Yep. So still very straightforward. We are only on Hero. We're not on Legend where there's a Chiron. Oh, okay, so started at level 1. Interesting. Maybe because previously when I did a little bit of playing, it was on regular difficulty. Maybe that's why it started higher, or maybe I just imagined it because it started at level 1 and leveled up.
Normally, when we encounter a potential ally, we first send the Apostle to the Onceborn to check them out. But I'm gonna break protocol to say thanks. Now listen, I'll be honest with you. The Exalted is the only one who has any real answers. Tobias West may be clever and Synedrian may sound great, but only the Exalted is dealing with the world as it actually is. She can lead us out of this mess. Give us lives worth living.
Interesting that given that Synedrian are the sciencey ones, that Tobias West is the one who's clever. We are going to say we'd like to know more. Just get a little bit of bonus standing.
Work with us. You'll still have to deal with the hierarchy. Work your way up from the Apostle to the Onceborn, to the Keeper of the Threshold, all the way up to the Synod of Yearning and the Exalted herself. That's hard work. You'll have to earn the knowledge you gain. But trust me, it'll be worth it. And if the Synod gives you trouble, let me know.
A little bit of foreshadowing there with the Synod of Yearning, who does give you trouble later. Okay, so we are back in the Geoscape with our first mission completed. Now, if I recall correctly, one of the changes is that your diplomatic choices have a little more meaning. So getting too friendly with one faction will actually impact how another faction sees you. So, Sophia up to level 2. We will take quick aim. I'm not as interested in Overwatch focus with her. Very useful for a sniper, not as useful on the assault. These are both useful. I will take them both. And let's keep exploring. Obviously, we want to get recruitment protocols as soon as possible. We are ready to share our preliminary findings regarding the new Pandora virus outbreak. The viral mist is an extremely unusual phenomenon. It is in fact a highly complex aerosol, capable of moving with deliberation and transporting viral DNA and other microbes. It is our belief that the vast waves of mist that helped cause the destruction of civilization were generated underwater by gigantic mutated structures. Each wave, including the current one, referred to by the population as the third mist, has slightly different properties. I love seeing this oniric delirium index symbol back. Makes me happy. We have received reports of a variety of afflictions suffered by individuals who have travelled or reside in areas covered by the mist. Tiredness, lack of energy, brain fog, anguish, and sometimes hallucinations. So far, we can conclude the following. First, symptoms never fully disappear, but are negligible when the subjects are fully rested, and progressively become worse as they exert themselves. Second, symptoms get worse if the subject stays or returns to locations where mist is present. We have termed this condition oniric delirium, on account of the subjects complaining of nightmares or crazy dreams with similar themes of monstrous degeneration and smothering. Our operatives can now be afflicted with a delirium status of up to a third of their willpower. And there's also a little note here that you want to manage that partly by making sure that your guys get to rest and have full stamina. We found the marketplace. So there's no missions. There's just access to random stuff, but it's all quite expensive. I don't know how you go about getting it cheaper either. It's a Synedrian sniper rifle for the Aspida. And this is just 4 Hell 2 cannons. Okay, Haven recruitment is complete. So we'll start generating rookies within a few days. Hopefully before then, we'll be able to find a Haven we can recruit from. Okay, now I can't afford this guy. He's level 3. Jeez Louise. Level 3 has 2 mutations, has actually taken abilities, and has a second tier melee weapon. No wonder they're expensive. So this one does less damage, but it has a lot of piercing and does virus damage. I'm not a huge fan of these mutations. Either of these mutations. Although I believe the mutations, when combined with delirium, cause increased damage. I'm not opposed to picking up a berserker. Our operatives have discovered an abandoned scrapyard, which appears to have once been used as a refuge by a group of steel workers. The workers heroically defended this location for years until hunger forced them to abandon it. Remarkably, they recorded their history by engraving it onto the large metallic plates they used to keep out the enemy. These plates would be extremely useful as construction material, but representatives of Synedrian have asked us to preserve them as a source of inspiration for future generations. Well, we're meant to be chummy-chummy with Synedrian, so let's keep them chummy-chummy. Disciples of Anu didn't like it, but oh well. If we remember those who fought, if their struggle inspires our own, then their deaths were not in vain. In this way, these works of art may help us win the war for humankind. Cool.
Research complete.
Okay, we can start trading. Awesome. An abandoned town, a remnant of the old world. The kind of place where children grew up, went to school, got jobs and grew old. A search of the buildings is like picking over the dead, but needs must. We might find some things we can use. Let's search the area. We get 160 materials, 60 food. So we're going to come here. We're going to trade for this tech. I'm going to turn that tech back into materials. I don't know if we actually made a profit on that. Oofed. Hammerfall. Earlier today, an asteroid crashed into Earth. The release of kinetic energy was roughly equivalent to the limited nuclear exchange between India and Iran during World War III. The impact event has been dubbed Hammerfall, the largest in Earth's recorded history. The asteroid hit deep inside a quarantine zone, where the Pandora virus has aggressively mutated the surrounding ecology. However, traces of seismic activity have been detected in the faraway coastal regions, coinciding with rumors of Pandoran hordes emerging from the mist. Anu Havens join in a ritual to welcome the prophesied trials and tribulations, their incomprehensible chant reverberating across the airwaves. Synedrian, trapped in the complex web of its inner politics, fails to agree on a course of action, but one of their Havens decides to send a mission to investigate the impact zone. New Jericho mobilizes its armed forces. Caught between the foolish and the mad, we must act, proclaims West. So they've reworked the plot of Festering Skies a little bit.